to the channel. My name is Steven, and this is Steel Keeping It Real. So today, it wasn't until later on in the evening, because I didn't go to bed until late last night, that I realized what today actually was. And I had totally forgotten that today was September 11th. Now, I have not forgotten September 11th. Sometimes, we do get wrapped up in what we are being in the present to always remember the past. Now, of course, I will never forget September 11th, and I don't think a lot of Americans or even human beings on the planet will forget September 11th. It was a Tuesday. It was a beautiful day, actually. First thing in the morning, I'm listening to Howard Stern. I got a girlfriend that I just got. She's, she's way younger than I am at the time. I got a great job. Everything was actually right in the world. And I didn't have diabetes. That's always a positive. Everything was right in the world on September 11th. And, I think especially us here in the United States, I think Americans suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder when it comes to September 11th. And after I watched a football game, and then all of a sudden 60 Minutes came on, and they were going to, of course, go over this historic day, I was like, you know what, I don't want to see this, and I turned it off. Want to know why? I don't need, they did it enough when it happened. And, at that time, I think there are certain parts of the media that almost should be ashamed of themselves for on that day, and then almost every day since, where they keep replaying these images, and it's, triggering us in a lot of ways about what happened. And, it's also weird that when you go on YouTube, and if you happen to just be one of those days where you go down the rabbit hole and you just, are clicking on suggestions, or you're not clicking and it's just on autoplay, somehow or another, you end up on September 11th. And I don't know how that happens. I don't know what type of wild out conspiracy that is. But for some reason, I always end up somewhere on September 11th. Now, the one thing is that if I don't think anybody should ever politicize this day, because it doesn't matter whether you are a Republican, a Democrat, a liberal, independent. Everybody was affected, and everybody. It wasn't. The only thing that it was specific for was Americans. So I don't want to all of a sudden, as much as one particular political side has tried to say that they are Americans and they are patriots. No, we're all Americans here. We're all patriots here, especially on this particular day. I am still at this point, 21 years later. It's hard to believe that. 21 years later, why this day has not been made a national holiday. I really doesn't, and it's not like a holiday where we celebrate. It's just like whether it be a Memorial Day or Veterans Day. I don't think there has been another day since the formation of the United States, whereas this was an attack on our culture, on our people, on how we do things. As much as somebody might want to say it was against, our political parties, but you didn't attack the political parties. Every American was attacked on that day, and I don't think that we've all had therapy for this particular day. We bury it away And then, like I said, on days like today, certain news outlets will bring it back up. And then it's like, oh yeah. And you come back with just exactly all those feelings of that day. It started off a beautiful day, ended up tragically, first thing in the morning. And then for the rest of the day, you were bombarded with everything like, let's see that again, let's see that again. And then, over the years where you get the documentaries and you hear even more of horrific things that were happening. And then there was like a good solid 4 years before Hollywood got involved and started making movies about it. And, I know they were saying like, well, we want to, let's not forget these people. We want to do this, but we also have to forget that it's not like when Hollywood made these movies, like these actors weren't getting paid, and these producers and directors and everybody else, nobody was doing it for free. It was all, in the end, it's all about making that money, and because there were major stars that starred in some of these movies, whether it be Nicolas Cage. There were major stars that were doing this. And I'm not knocking the actors at all. I'm sure somebody came to them and said, like, yeah, this is a good idea. We need to heal. You'll help as part of the healing process. And, these kinds of things. But, nobody has actually come on, on our TVs and actually said, like, hey, America, let's sit down. Let's all talk about this. Tell me how you feel. What is it that, as a government, that we can do to help you heal, over this, as opposed to just like with everything else, we kind of bury it until it rears its ugly head, one day. What can we do? We acted pretty quickly. Well, no, we didn't act quick enough. I remember it was about, my son was 4, so my son was born in 99, and I was still at that same job that I was at in 2011, and I was making very, very good money, and I went to go see my son in Arizona. I was in Columbus, and I went to go see my son in Arizona, and I flew, and it was the first time that I had flown since 1984, and I was scared to death because all this imagery that had been bombarded to us for like 3 or 4 years, all of a sudden now, before 2001, 2, 3, it's about 2 or 3 years, we've been bombarded with. Now all of a sudden I'm on a plane and these fears start to rush. Now, I used to be a heavy drinker, but I wanted to make myself, when I flew, I did not drink at all because I wanted to be totally aware of my surroundings. And if something went down, was I going to be able to do something about it, or was I going to be too inebriated to do so? So I didn't drink on the way there on the plane, and I didn't drink on the way back. And there were certain things that, I had severe anxiety either way, and it was the ride back that was more severe, because that's on the ride back. I think it was the day or day before is when we started bombing Iraq, when we started, the whole mission accomplished thing. That's when we started. So now all of a sudden my fears are heightened, and I see 2 people on the plane, and they kind of look out of sorts to me. And this is how much, all these imageries and how the news was going, how it all happened, where there was they were brown skinned, and I couldn't tell you at this time what nationality that they were. For all I know, they could have been Latino. But one was sitting in front of me, maybe about 2 rows up on my right hand side, and then I noticed one was sitting behind me, about 2 rows. And what made me look out of place is that they both looked like they were wearing suits that were about 2 sizes too big. They just look out of place. And for this whole flight from Arizona back to Ohio, I didn't sleep. I never took my eyes off, especially the dude in the front. And even when he was sitting there and he kept reading the emergency procedures over and over and over again, I'm like, please don't let this be the one. Don't let this be the one. And it wasn't. I got off the plane. I left. I kept making sure that I checked the news because, of course, that plane had to go on to another stop because I didn't see those guys get off the plane. And it was just this kind of thing. And that's why I find, the news didn't make what happened on that day. They didn't do it. But, so much of it afterwards, I do think that they're responsible, for some of the anxiety that, especially as Americans, feel when we talk about this particular day or think about this particular day. We all have a story. Now, the other thing that really upset me was that after this happened, after that Tuesday, it might have been Wednesday or Thursday, or it might have even been Saturday of that same exact week. Me and my girlfriend at the time, we went driving around and we ended up on the Ohio State campus. And there are, whatever town that you live in America or city, you're going to have some type of convenience store or something like that being run by somebody from the Middle East. But on that day, there were some people that didn't care if you looked brown, no matter what nationality you were being attacked in one way or another. People were being attacked on the streets. Me and her, we were wondering, we went to this convenience store, not for really anything. It was curiosity by me that we went to this convenience store, and they basically, I never seen so many American flags in my life draped all over the store, because the people who were running the store were of Middle Eastern descent, and they were scared for their lives, and they had people positioned outside, they had people positioned inside and in certain areas of the store, ready to handle, anything that would have come their way, but they were prepared. And, then you were seeing them driving around, and that would probably been the time frame here in the United States was one of the last times that I saw, or the last time periods where I saw Americans being patriotic, because that's when all of a sudden people started putting flags on their cars, or having the little flags and decals, or somewhere on their car, and all these sayings, and nobody was ever thinking about how this could be considered racist. Somebody, you couldn't, as far as the attitude, you really couldn't be that overtly racist anymore. And I'm glad. I'm really, really glad that we can't do that anymore. But I really felt for those people, because, they were in fear of their lives. And in a way, it was almost like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to treat you this way. I wish there was something that I could do. I'm only one person. But then it's sad to say that I was like, we've been like this for a long time as far as African Americans here in the United States. And, it was, it's almost like the same group of people. There were additional people that, joined in on the particular hate of of that time frame. Um, but as much as it was a sad day in American history, it was also a sad day in American history as far as how some of us acted after the fact. Again, I'm not going to point out anything, but I live in Central Ohio, where you know the city is pretty progressive and liberal. But once you step outside of the 270 belt, which wraps around Columbus, Ohio, it gets very, how do you say it? Conservative. It's very, very conservative. It's very, even for myself, you know, I don't like leaving the outskirts of the city, because I know now all of a sudden I'm in an area where I'm not even looked at as equal. Just being a human being, I'm being looked at as something else, and that's sad. So when I think about today, I think about all these things and all these things replayed, and this is about the first time that I've actually thought about it, to be able to vocalize it. And maybe this is part of my therapy, is to finally get that out there and let some people know how I felt, and if you felt anywhere the same. I would love to know if you have a story that you want to put down in the comments, that you feel like you don't have to be afraid of to tell your story, that you can put it in about maybe your experiences around 2000, September 11th to 2001. Maybe something you noticed, or maybe something that you felt, or do you agree that the United States or Americans suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder from what happened on this day? From all the images that we saw on TV. I would like to know. So if you are still here and listen to what I have to say, I really do appreciate it. Again, when I do make any type of video, I want you guys to like the videos as much as I like making them for you. And I thank you for thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment.